Cleopatra VII Philopator. Cleopatra VII Philopator, the last pharaoh of Egypt. Cleopatra VII Philopator c. 69 BC 30 BCE, was the final active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. Far from the one-dimensional seductress often portrayed in popular culture, she was a formidable intellectual, a cunning political strategist, a charismatic leader, and one of the most powerful women in antiquity. Her story is not merely one of romance and tragedy, but of a desperate, brilliant struggle to preserve her nation's autonomy against the inexorable rise of the Roman Empire. Personal information. Full name: Cleopatra VII Philopator. Cleopatra, a common Macedonian royal name meaning glory of her father. Philopator, Greek for goddess who loves her father, a royal epithet linking her to her predecessor, Ptolemy XII Elites, and asserting her divine right to rule. Birth and death. Born in early 69 BCE in Alexandria, Egypt. Died on August 10 or 12, 30 BCE in Alexandria. Ethnicity and lineage. Cleopatra was of Macedonian Greek descent, a member of the Ptolemaic dynasty founded by Ptolemy I Soter, a general of Alexander the Great. While she may have had some Persian or Sogdian ancestry through the dynasty's lineage, she was not ethnically Egyptian. However, unlike her predecessors, she made a profound effort to connect with her Egyptian subjects. Education. Raised in Alexandria, the intellectual capital of the ancient world, Cleopatra received an exceptional education at the museum, which included the Great Library of Alexandria. She was reportedly fluent in as many as 9 languages, including Egyptian, a first for her dynasty, Greek, Parthian, Hebrew, Median, Troglodyte, Syrian, Ethiopian, and Arabic. This linguistic skill was a powerful diplomatic tool, allowing her to communicate directly with foreign dignitaries without interpreters. Family. Cleopatra's family life was a quintessential example of the brutal power dynamics of the Ptolemaic court, marked by incestuous marriages to preserve the royal bloodline and deadly sibling rivalries. Father: Ptolemy XII Elites. Mother: believed to be Cleopatra V Tryphonina, who was likely Ptolemy Xi's sister or cousin. Siblings: Berenice IV, her older sister, who briefly usurped their father, Arsinoe IV, her younger sister and a key rival during her civil war with Ptolemy XIII, Ptolemy XIII Theos Philopator, her younger brother and first husband, with whom she was initially co-ruler. He exiled her, leading to a civil war. Ptolemy XIV, her youngest brother and second husband, installed as a figurehead co-ruler after Caesar's victory. Partners and children. With Julius Caesar unmarried. Ptolemy XV Caesar, known as Caesar Ion, Little Caesar. He was her co-ruler in her final years and represented her claim to a joint Greco-Roman future. With Mark Antony, married under Egyptian law, Alexander Helios, the sun, and Cleopatra Selene II, the moon, twins. Ptolemy Philadelphus. Growth and ascension to power. Cleopatra's rise was a masterclass in political survival and opportunism. 1. Initial rule and exile. She ascended the throne in 51 BCE at the age of 18, co-ruling with her 10-year-old brother, Ptolemy XIII. Court eunuchs and advisors, led by Pothinus, quickly turned her brother against her, and by 48 BCE, she was forced into exile in Syria. 2. The alliance with Caesar. Undeterred, she raised a mercenary army. When the Roman civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey spilled into Egypt, she seized her chance. After Pompey was assassinated by Ptolemy Xii's court, Caesar arrived in Alexandria. In a legendary act of audacity, Cleopatra had herself smuggled past enemy lines rolled inside a carpet or linen sack to gain an audience with Caesar. Impressed by her boldness and intelligence, and charmed by her charisma, Caesar sided with her. 3. The Alexandrian War. Caesar's support for Cleopatra triggered a war against the forces of Ptolemy XIII and Arsinoe IV. Caesar and Cleopatra were victorious, Ptolemy XIII drowned in the Nile, and Arsinoe IV was captured. 4. Consolidation of power. Caesar restored Cleopatra to the throne, with her youngest brother Ptolemy XIV as a nominal co-ruler. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Ptolemy XIV died, likely poisoned on Cleopatra's orders, and she elevated her infant son Caesar Ion to be her co-ruler, solidifying her sole control over Egypt. Achievements and political acumen. Her reign was defined by her sharp intellect and political skill rather than military conquest. 1. Economic management. She inherited a kingdom in decline and debt. She worked to stabilize the Egyptian economy, reformed the currency, and skillfully managed resources, including navigating a severe famine caused by a lack of Nile flooding. 2. Cultural integration and propaganda. Cleopatra was the only Ptolemaic ruler to learn the Egyptian language and embrace its religion. She presented herself to her people as the reincarnation of the goddess Isis. This was a brilliant political move that earned her the loyalty of the native Egyptian population and priesthood, something her ancestors had struggled to achieve. 3. Diplomatic alliances. Her relationships with Caesar and Antony were not just romantic but were her primary foreign policy instruments. She provided Caesar with the wealth and grain of Egypt to fund his campaigns. With Antony, she formed a powerful Eastern alliance, aiming to create a new Hellenistic Roman Empire with Alexandria as its capital. 4. Naval power. She invested heavily in building a powerful navy, which she personally commanded, understanding that control of the sea was vital for Egypt's security and influence. International influence in countries visited. Cleopatra's influence extended far beyond Egypt's borders. I. Rome 46 to 44 BCE. She lived in a villa owned by Caesar across the Tiber. Her presence in Rome was scandalous and influential. Roman aristocrats were both fascinated and horrified by this powerful, intelligent foreign queen. Her exotic style influenced Roman fashion and jewelry, and she may have helped popularize the Egyptian solar calendar in Rome. 2. Tarsus, modern-day Turkey, 41 BCE. Her first meeting with Mark Antony is legendary. Summoned by him to explain her role after Caesar's death, she turned the command into a seduction. She arrived on a magnificent golden barge with purple sails and silver oars, dressed as the goddess Venus, Aphrodite, surrounded by attendants. This calculated display of wealth, power, and divine association captivated Antony. 3. Antioch and Athens. She spent significant time with Antony in these cities, effectively co-ruling the eastern half of the Roman world. During the donations of Alexandria in 34 BCE, they staged a massive public ceremony where they distributed lands ruled by Rome and Parthia to their children, a direct challenge to Octavian's authority in Rome. Other interests and passions. 1. Intellectual pursuits. She was a patron of the Museum and Library of Alexandria and enjoyed the company of scholars. She was said to have written books on subjects like cosmetics, hairstyling, and possibly weights and measures. 2. Toxicology. Ancient sources, particularly Plutarch, claim she conducted experiments with various poisons on prisoners to determine which was the most painless and efficient, in preparation for her own potential suicide. 3. Extravagant spectacle. Both for political effect and personal pleasure, She engaged in incredible displays of wealth. She and Antony formed a dining club called the Inimitable Livers, dedicated to nightly feasts and entertainment. A famous story tells of her dissolving a priceless pearl in vinegar and drinking it simply to win a bet with Antony about who could host the most expensive dinner. Attributed quotes, meaning and implication. Direct quotes are scarce and filtered through Roman historians, but the ones attributed to her reveal her character. 1. I will not be triumphed over. Reported by Plutarch. Meaning, this is perhaps her most defining sentiment. A Roman triumph was a victory parade where a captured enemy leader was publicly humiliated by being paraded through the streets of Rome in chains before being executed. Implication. For Cleopatra, a queen who considered herself a living goddess, such a fate was worse than death. Her suicide was not an act of romantic despair but a final defiant act of political agency to deny her enemy, Octavian, his ultimate victory. Theories and historical debates. 1. Her appearance. Roman propaganda and later Hollywood have created the image of an irresistible beauty. However, contemporary coins depict her with a prominent nose, a sharp chin and strong features. Historians like Plutarch state that her true power lay not in conventional beauty, but in her irresistible charm, her melodious voice, and her powerful intellect. 2. The cause of death. The iconic story is that she died from the bite of an asp, hidden in a basket of figs. However, this is debated. Cobra theory. The Egyptian cobra, a symbol of royalty, the uraeus, is a more likely candidate than an asp, as it would have been a death befitting a pharaoh. 2. Poison theory. Many historians believe she may have used a fast-acting poison, possibly administered via a pin or comb, as a snakebite would be an unreliable and potentially slow method. 3. Assassination theory. A minority view suggests Octavian may have had her secretly murdered and staged it as a suicide to avoid the backlash of executing a queen and mother of Caesar's son. 3. The lost tomb. The location of the tomb of Cleopatra and Mark Antony remains one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. The Roman historian Suetonius wrote that Octavian allowed them to be buried together in a splendid tomb she had begun constructing. Searches have focused on the area of ancient Alexandria, now mostly underwater, and the Temple of Taposiris Magna, 30 miles away. Influence on psychology. While Cleopatra made no direct contributions to the formal discipline of psychology, her life and persona have become powerful subjects of psychological analysis and cultural archetypes. 1. The archetype of the femme fatale. Cleopatra is arguably the historical prototype for the femme fatale, a seductive, intelligent, and dangerous woman who uses her charms to ensnare powerful men, leading them to their doom. This archetype is a recurring theme in literature, art, and psychoanalytic theory, often representing male anxieties about female power and sexuality. 2. Psychology of leadership and power. Her reign is a case study in charismatic leadership. She used personal branding as Isis, strategic alliances, and intellectual superiority to maintain power against overwhelming odds. Her ability to command loyalty and project an aura of divine authority is a powerful example of the psychological dimensions of rule. 3. Propaganda and historical memory. The story of Cleopatra is a profound lesson in the psychology of propaganda. Octavian's campaign against her was masterful, painting her as a decadent, foreign, and morally corrupt sorceress who had bewitched a noble Roman, Antony. This narrative was so effective that it has dominated her historical image for 2 millennia, demonstrating how perception, when weaponized, can shape reality and legacy. Legacy 1. The end of an era. Her death marked a major turning point in history. It signified the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, the end of the Hellenistic Age, which began with Alexander the Great, and the final absorption of an independent Egypt into what would become the Roman Empire. With her death, the age of pharaohs stretching back 3 millennia was over. 2. The eternal cultural icon. Cleopatra has been endlessly reimagined through the centuries. She is the tragic heroine of Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, a subject of countless paintings by artists like Tiepolo and Jerome, and the star of epic films, most famously the 1963 production starring Elizabeth Taylor. She has become a universal symbol of female power, tragic love, and exotic allure. 3. A symbol of defiance. Beyond the romance, her modern legacy is increasingly focused on her intellect, resilience, and her fight against imperialism. She is seen as a ruler who used every tool at her disposal, her mind, her body, her wealth, and her will, to defend her country's sovereignty. Conclusion. To define Cleopatra by her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony is to accept the propaganda of her enemies. She was not a mere pawn in the games of powerful men. She was a queen who played the game herself with extraordinary skill. She was a scholar, a polyglot, an economic reformer, a naval commander, and a living goddess to her people. In an age dominated by Roman military might, she wielded intelligence, charisma, and strategic alliances as her primary weapons. Her ultimate failure to save Egypt was not due to a lack of ability but to the sheer, unstoppable force of Rome under the singularly focused and ruthless Octavian. Cleopatra's life was a brilliant, tragic, and defiant final chapter for pharaonic Egypt, and her legacy continues to captivate and inspire, reminding us that history's most compelling figures are always more complex than the myths that surround them. The end. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.